Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for some indie comic reviews, and in these indie comic reviews I'll be covering Hyde Street, issue 9, followed by Twilight Zone, Blanks, issue 1. I'll now get things ready and organised for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So moving into first things first, does this cover for Hyde Street issue 9 connect to something that is happening inside with the story? In some essence it sort of does, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So, as the story begins, we get a bit of a backstory around the character of Mr. Ego and sort of like how he came to be, and what's also happening within the story here. As we catch up in the present, we get to see that Pranky has Mr. X-Ray's glasses on, and of course Dr. Ego has to, of course, do some form of operation so he can be returned to the way he was. And last but not least, towards the end, to which we learn that there is a villain who is on the hunt for Pranky. So for the internal art, I give a 7.5 out of 10. Next is in relation to the story. So first things first, do we get anything time-wise? Sure enough, we do. Of course, there's the past as well as the present. Of course, there's the one mentioned at the beginning, being 1946. Next is 1997. Next is the area of the location. Of course, everything here is taking place on Hyde Street. The cast of characters consisting of Dr. Ego, Mr. X-Ray. We, of course, have Pranky. We also have a nurse by the name of... we have someone by the name of Marilyn, which connects to Dr. Ego's past. We have also Nurse D and Doe. And also the character known as Mr. Oddman, who is coming into the picture. For my overall rating for this story, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the Twilight Zone, Blanks, issue 1. So as we move into Matt Watts' The Twilight Zone, Blanks, issue 1, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough, it really does, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. But let's see how the rest goes in relation to the rating for the art as well as the story. So now it's time to move into the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the characters. So as the story begins, we end up having a person turning up at a particular resort, and the way that this story actually sort of came across, it reminded me of a M. Night Shyamalan movie. Just the way it sort of did come across. And in that Shyamalan movie, they were looking for like cures for diseases, whatever else. But in the story, we had like certain characters grow old at a certain beach. And this is what this really reminds me of. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because it is sort of like a story outside of M. Night Shyamalan's story. It's just the way the story came across that it reminded me of that. So this is the beginning in relation to the art and also the character coming in. So we learn that Ed Kane is coming in, and we learn that there's a Dr. Colucci, I think it is. So as some of the events are taking place, and this is sort of like after he stayed over at this particular medical type resort, he is having some side effects of the drug that is being worked on him. And one of the things that they're sort of like looking for in this particular story is sort of like the thing that will lead to the elixir of life. And last but not least, towards the end, how things will take place in the next issue, I've got no idea. So for the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. I don't really mind that it's black and white. I think they could have even done the story in colour and still brought across what they were wanting to bring across with the story. next is the area of the story racing. So first things first, did we get anything time-wise as to, do we know what year or what time elements were used to address what was happening? None of that at all. Next is the location. Where was this story taking place location-wise? We know it was taking place at a resort, but we weren't given the name of the resort, which is also disappointing. And with the work that Matt Waters has been doing, or Dan Waters has been doing on Nightwing right now, which I have actually been enjoying, for this story, it became a bit disappointing, and I was expecting, maybe I was expecting a little bit too much, but the story is what it is. Last but not least is the cast of characters, to which we have Ed Kane and Dr. Kulux. For my overall rating, I give it a 6 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.